Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are here live again, palmistry Q&A, and we are discussing or starting the discussion off about the fate line. So what I was thinking is some people might have thought like they are a little bit different, like they're writing their own story. It's like everyone else seems to have a bit of a script and they've got their shit together. But I think for many of us, discovering about ourselves, palmistry is the answer, looking for the answer in your own hands. So today, of course, we'll learn about the fate line, especially if you do not have one. So I got this picture here. As usual, I'll be doing drawing on there so that I can talk about the lines that so I can show you what I'm talking about, I mean. So welcome to say hi, don't be shy. We are here today for also palmistry Q&A. You can interrupt me anytime that you like to ask your specific question. I'm happy to divert and change subject in between. That's what I normally do. So I'm here to help you understand palmistry from a realistic, modern, logical perspective, and hopefully you will learn from this, whether you want it for professional reasons like myself, or whether you just curious about your own hands and what they might mean. So the fate line is what I started talking about, is a line that usually runs towards the middle finger, right in the middle of the palm. I have seen a complete long, that's a little bit wobbly. I've seen a complete long fate line like this many times, and generally a steady fate line represents a stable person. They're focused, they have a steady path in their career, they're guided by their determination. So if you have this line, your career path is likely decided early in life. Sorry, it's normally meant to be straight. So even if you choose not to have a job or a career, it shows no matter what you do, you take responsibility seriously. You know who you are, you know how to educate yourself and follow your purpose, no matter what it is. So as a general guide, it represents perseverance and tenacity, sticking to that path. There's this path and you stick to it. And that's your personality to do that. So these lines not just represent fate and all that. It is about you, showing about what you are like with your goals, what you are like with your basic purpose in life. So the downside with having this wall right in the middle, it's like a big wall, it's a steady path. The downside is that it can potentially be a restricted path because there's no diversion there at all. So what happens when this fate line is missing? It might be here and there, it might be little fragments of it, you might see little fuzzy bits here and there, but overall, if there's no fate line, that you'd be surprised, that is more about freedom than about fate. So the common misconception is that the missing fate line means a lack of a job or lack of purpose or lack of success. So that's not true. What you'll learn today is how this type of line or palm altogether, we'll talk about other signs as well, how it signifies unique independence and self-creation. So what to look for on the palm is having no fate line. Like I said, having potentially just a few scraggy lines, or having no line at all. Sometimes you have lines on one side but not on the other, like parallels. You might have this success line, which might represent, you know, being comfortable in the later years. That's another video. But we are just referring to the lack of fate line. If I will just leave some sort of a representation here. So dotted line, the fate line where it should be. So having this is crafting your own path, not just living your life that's set. You are creating your life each day. You're charting this path, often by yourself. You might not have an interest in worldly achievement, but more like just day by day. You might not like obligations, so you don't like obligations to anyone. It's a non-linear path, meaning you might get involved in multiple ventures, and potentially even a self-employed person can have this kind of a missing fate line. It shows that you might have a natural inclination towards innovation, coming up with ideas, breaking traditional molds, especially if this headline is nice and neat and potentially long. So that gives that person who's researching and coming up with ideas, and I suppose thinking things through. So those sort of multiple faceted kind of a life in their ideals and what they like to do. So maybe you embrace the unknown, maybe the absence of this predetermined path cultivates adaptability. So you can adapt and be resilient. You can adapt to many different things. So imagine it as decisions without a roadmap. So instead of having your roadmap out and just sticking to that road, you're kind of freelancing it. So making these decisions without that actual map. So it means that you need a lot of self-trust. Basically, the role of intuition plays a big role in that, because you might live on instinct. Your inner guidance is what's shaping your destiny. And that missing fate line is kind of like a little superpower. It's strength. It's a sign of self-direction, not having to follow your parents' dream of you becoming a doctor, not having to follow any strict guidelines of, you know, what you are supposed to be doing. So basically, let me know if you have a missing fate line. I'd love to hear from you. You can pop that in the comments, or we can talk about that now. So yeah, I encourage you to explore your path regardless of whether you have this fate line or not. And yeah, so I do have several other videos about this fate line, so you're welcome to explore my channel as well. I've got over 400 videos. I've been on this channel now since 2011, so quite a bit there if you want to start checking out all my lessons. It was a mouthful. I got a bit of a dry mouth from that. So let's talk about you guys. Are you guys here to learn palmistry? Are you just here to out of curiosity? Are you here to because we caught you off guard, or are you actually following me? I'd love to hear about you, and just say hi. Let me know where you're from. What's the weather like over here? Queensland, Australia right now. It's quite warm. We're in the middle of summer still, but pretty well warm here in winter too. So we only got 2 seasons here really. That's spring and summer. Oh, maybe autumn, but it's never really cold. Not in Queensland. So let me know where you're coming from. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer questions. What kind of fate line do you have? I know I've seen a lot of people who have these fate lines that swap and change. They might have a nice fate line and then it changes over and it grows on a different spot. Then it changes again, grows in another spot. And it might continue doing that. It might even veer off to a course, and it might branch out and split. These kind of fate lines show changes. So the first part would be someone in their early 20s that began studying to be a mechanic, for example, and they, completed their course and stayed on that career path until, say, about 35. So at 35, they might have completely changed their career and became a truck driver from 35 on, and then they stayed on that path until about 45, and they decided, no, don't like that anymore, and 49, they decided, let's change again. So they're changing your direction in life. That can be from any reason. It might not have to be just about the career. So yeah. Oh, hello, Erica. Welcome. So you're saying, sorry, just lost the chat box. Oh, yeah, that happens. That happens to me all the time. Erica says, my daughter's fate line is so hard to read. On the left hand, it's straight forward, but on the right hand, it's strange. She has no sun line on the left, but she has a beautiful sun on the right hand after the age of 50. Okay, so is she right-handed? The left hand, if that's her non-dominant, so that is showing, it is showing signs of, certain direction. Right-handed. Okay, cool. So the right hand is showing, I suppose, depending on her age now, but it's showing that the gradual changes, it's showing the potential. So if the multiple fate lines on the right hand are thin and short, that can be signs of the uncertainty. So it's like there's no decided path for her yet. She's 20. Okay, so maybe she has not started her life knowing what she's going to become and staying focused, constantly thinking of the same thing. So you think along the same lines all the time, that line just sets itself. It draws that line. So you imagine, let's see. So let me clear this first. So imagine if you are just thinking about your career. So at an early age, I'll clear that. I wanted a smaller line. Come on. So you might be thinking about a career. So you might have these lines. You're not sure what you're doing, not sure, you haven't really thought about it. But once you start thinking more about it, the lines start coming together. They might start getting closer together, and it stays on the same part. Okay, we're thinking of this one thing. Let's keep thinking about this one thing. And it just keeps, your thoughts stay on that one track. So once your thoughts stay on that one track, then the line starts becoming more of a permanent line. And if she's got them up the top, or wispy lines up the top, for a 20-year-old, that is absolutely normal. I'm pretty sure that's what mine used to look like. And then these hairs, so to speak, as the person's life progresses and they get their shit together, sorry, I don't have another word for that, as they organize their life and know what they want, those little hairs start coming together. It's like plaiting your hair, and instead of it all being all over the place, it all becomes one line. It joins together. So for someone who's hasn't taken on a strict path of following career options, especially mainly career options this line refers to, that would mean that it might take a while for this line to form. Sometimes that line will never form. Like I said, if you have that missing fate line, it just means that, you know, you have this freedom to make decisions based on your instinct, and you just follow your instinct through your life without being stuck on this restricted path with obligations and responsibility. So people with a clean fate line are quite responsible people regardless of their career. So I've mentioned this in other videos. I mention it in my book. A gentleman that I knew at the time when I done his palm reading, he was 65. So that's retiring age for him. And he had a nice, clean, long fate line. And it showed that he was responsible, and he was also followed that same path his whole life without any sort of a distraction. But the surprise there was he didn't have a job. He said he never had a job. He left school looking for work, but he never found a job, and he stayed on government benefits his whole life. His entire life was following that same path, even though that path was not a job, it wasn't a career. It was him knowing what he wanted. He knew he didn't want to work. He knew he didn't want a job. He knew he wanted to get paid to just do his own thing and just stick to his way of life. So he stuck to his way of life, and the government was supporting it. So okay, so you're saying she wants to travel, she wants to have kids, wants to work in a lab, wants to be a teacher, wants to play guitar, she wants so many. She sounds like me. She sounds like me. Okay, yeah, I wanted to work. I was, okay, my first job was in a factory. Then I started in, I went to do a course. I was a fitness instructor, fitness leader, back in those days they called it aerobics instructor. And then I went back into study to do admin. So then I was working in offices doing admin, and then back to factory, and it was all over the place. And then I wanted to have kids, so then I've had kids, and I was doing teaching. While I was having kids, I was teaching art because I was always very arty. Always wanted to paint and draw and do all the arty things. And so now as I got older, I'm learning to play guitar. You can see it in the background. So wanting to do many things, and then that happening in your life can result in a weak and kind of an unstable looking fate line. But there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you don't like to be restricted to the one path because you've got so many things that you want to do. And yes, travel as well. Travel is a big part of it. And I'm also traveling now. I'm going to Tasmania in a few months. So when I do, I'll bring my laptop with me. I should still be able to do some live streaming because we're away for 4 weeks. So hopefully I can still stream from a laptop if we have internet connection. If we have internet connection, I will still stream from Tasmania, or I might even stream while we're traveling to Tasmania. So yes, it sounds like her fate line match her personality perfectly. So that explains the lack of the line being perfectly clear. Oh, she's got 2 lifelines, like 2 parallel lines. Yes. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Like that's like a support line. So that second lifeline is like a backup system for if something goes wrong. So in some cases, especially if there are, so you got a double lifeline. So some cases, if there is a double headline, that duality on both lines does actually represent dual personality, someone who has 2 different sides to them in their mental outlook. But just the double lifeline, that alone is just a nice support, and it can represent 2 different lifestyles. The person might have kids, but and things like that. Would be represented by the inner lifeline, more closer to family, and the outer lifeline might be representing the person in her that wants to just travel and get out more. So it can represent duality in that sense as well. So she's got the options to, follow either path. She can only follow one path if she wants to. She doesn't have to follow 2 paths. Oh, you mentioned about the challenge line last time because you missed the live. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Okay, so the challenge line comes from the side. So usually it hits the headline. Sometimes it hits the fate line. But the main challenge line, it's usually scraggy. Let me clear that again. Let me start again. So it's usually a scraggy line. The challenge line comes and hits the headline. And so I see what you're saying. So it might hit the headline over here, and that makes it look like, especially if she had a long headline, it might look like a double headline. So I reckon it'd be good, Erica, if you send me her right hand, if you want. It's up to you. I can analyze it and do a live stream with it, or make a video out of it for to learn from. More from the, so okay, so coming up, let me go back to a thicker line. So more outer Mars and coming down to it. Does it touch the headline? So yeah, if you want to send me that, send me a nice clear picture. That would be that'll make a good video. We can do potentially a live stream. Yeah, maybe live stream be good, because then I can analyze it first and then come on here talking about it, and then we can still communicate about that hand. So yeah, okay, so coming down to it, that I suppose not so much a challenge. I think it is a challenge line. I will have a look at it, and we'll definitely do a video on it. But like I said, it does depend on what it looks like. Sometimes these lines just represent insomnia, like if the person struggles sleeping, especially if there's like if it's like gripping the headline, like a pair of tongs coming at it. So it's like a sign of trouble sleeping. But yeah, so the challenge line represents, in general, it means that the person, there's always something that's challenging her mind, whether she likes giving herself challenges, or whether she tries things and then fails, and it's like, seems like she's always restricted from doing what she might be thinking about. So, she's got, okay, well, that makes sense. That will definitely be the disturbance. So the challenge is the disturbance of thoughts getting sidetracked. Yeah, so that definitely makes sense. Who else we got? We lost a couple of our viewers. My Facebook viewers have dropped off. I had some on there before, now they're gone. They might come back later. But yeah, it will be definitely easier to discuss it once I see the whole hand. Try doing hard things at school, yeah. So that's, I suppose, not self-inflicted. That's more like, okay, she is faced with this challenge at school, and so I suppose being, school have their own routines or whatever. So if she's struggling with it, yeah, maybe that could be a sign that she gets distracted. There's something coming in to distract her. So yeah, very interesting. So I look forward to seeing that hand, because you said that she's got ADHD. So I know that there's various signs of ADHD. Some people have some of them, some people have none of them, some people have all of them. And yeah, so, and then there's various degrees of ADHD too. And so I don't think I have ADHD, but I'm definitely easily distracted. And I suppose that's why I sometimes struggle finishing things. So yeah. it is a spectrum, and I think when I was a child, I was definitely on some sort of a spectrum. I liked being by myself, if that's anything to do with it. I liked having maybe one or two good friends, having one friend, but I had three sisters, and I spent most of the time doing things by myself because I wasn't interested in what they were doing. So I used to always find my own thing. So I don't think that's anything bad, but I think I'm probably still like that. Everybody goes to the party and I stay at home. But anyway, it's all good. What else do we want to talk about today? So yeah, I'll talk a bit more about this line coming from I know, three sisters. There's a lot of sisters. No brothers. I had an imaginary brother. I told people I had an older brother, but I didn't. I told people I had a dog, and I didn't. That was when I was a kid. I just wanted to fit in with some people sometimes. I'll say, yes, I got a brother too. Yes, I got a dog too. I guess I was only 5 years old then. Anyway, this line that comes from the outer Mars can give resilience. It can give determination, because Mars has that energy of like sort of stubbornness, I suppose. So if this line comes, that outer Mars, towards the success line or towards the fate line, I call these, the line of determination or courage. So the person may at some point have a career where courage is needed, such as an ambulance officer or a nurse or something like that. So that comes various lengths and shapes and sizes, so that it has all different meanings depending on its length. So you would, I didn't go into full detail about it. Dedication line was the other one I called it, from my book Life and Destiny Palmistry. I say the dedication line, which starts from the Mount of Mars, sometimes stops at the heart line, which depicts a potential change in career into something more aligned with their desires. Because the line originates from the upper Mars, it has Mars energy. It shows someone dedicated to their work or can cope well under pressure, especially if the mount is firm. It shows determination to help and do well in the career. So that can stretch as far as the fate line or the success line, or it can stop at the heart line. And it doesn't always start this far in. It can start a little bit further in as well. Oh, your sun lines are formed like that. Okay. Very good. So yeah, so then there's also what I call the courage line. So it's very similar to the dedication line. I think the dedication line to me runs more towards the Mount of Saturn. So the courage line goes more towards the Apollo. So it's a little bit closer to the Mercury Mount. And from my book, I've got the courage line has a similar meaning to the dedication line. It originates from the upper Mars but ends on the Apollo Mount. The career will likely to be creative. Some palmists call it the Mars line, the line of courage, which does make sense considering it originates from the inner Mars area. Outer Mars, upper Mars. Anyway, that's probably a typo in my book as well. I should go and check that. Ends in the Mount of Mercury. Yeah. Then there's another line. So that's probably there's one that's called the camera's eye, and that's literally like that. I talk about the camera's eye in my book as well. So that's quite rare, I think, but some people have it, and it's not a line that I've studied a lot, but when I read about it in someone else's book, they said it was someone who has an eye for detail, someone who can spot things that other people might not spot, such as if you are monitoring security screens or something, or if you are doing ultrasounds, like a ultrasound person. What do they call those? I know there's a word for it. Yeah, so someone who's got a good eye for not just creative things as in photography, but a good eye for spotting things that are out of place. Hence why they call it the camera's eye. What if the sun line originate on the side of the hand? So the sun line from the Mount of Moon, that shows more, that's the meaning of the moon would come into it. So basically that shows the person might be kind of nurturing, creative. It could also be about moodiness, but all of that comes into the career or their life choices. So if there's a successful career in the public eye, that can represent the success line or the fate line to come from the Mount of Moon. If your success depends on public opinion, depends on the public accepting it. And it's also not just about the public being in your career, but the career requires you to be in the public. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a artist or a singer or actor that requires the public to like you. It could be you're a politician, or even a doctor has to deal with the public all the time. And so it's a career that's not set by your traditional standards of where this success line normally just rises out of the blue anywhere sort of underneath the headline. It's rare to find a really long success line. So yes, receptionist, that's always dealing with the public. lots of people, and especially so if that wasn't your original kind of a career path. So if your parents thought maybe you had some other career path and you went completely away from what your parents wanted to do. So it's just represents non-traditional to the family career, and potentially success in it, and potentially tapping into the moon qualities. And that is represented by, like I said before, someone who's intuitive, nurturing, creative, potentially moody, potentially have I suppose a lot of empathy as well. And so there's a whole list. If you're into astrology, you'll know even more about the qualities of the moon, because moon comes with its personality or whatever, I suppose. So yes, very interesting. What else? Got a few minutes left. If anyone else has got any more questions. Born on a Monday, day of the moon. Is it? Oh, I'm not sure what day I was born. I think it was a Tuesday. Tuesday or Thursday. I remember a T. Tuesday or Thursday. So I didn't know. Atmakaraka, which is the soul significator, the planet with the highest degree, also the planet moon. Okay. Tuesday is Mars, Thursday is Jupiter. Okay. I probably can tell. Is that something that you can tell from the when you put your chart in? Google and ask what day of the week you were born. Yeah, that's a good idea. I did have my natal chart thing somewhere. I'll just have a quick look on my phone. I had that done just to find out where my planets were and stuff. Horoscope, I think I might have deleted it. Yeah, it's gone. Monday, Moon Day. Oh, that's an easy way to remember it. Yeah. I'm gonna Google that. What day was calendar was Tuesday. Oh no, wait. What is that? Detail month. Si lento palidolito. Yeah, okay. So I had to go into the Finnish one because I was born in Finland. And so the time zone is different. So I went into the time zone of Finland and it was a Thursday. I was born on a Thursday. I knew it was a T. What day of week was? Yeah. Yep. So I was born a Jupiter. So does that, if you're born on that, day. Jupiter is Jupiter's a teacher. Hello. Yeah. And I became teaching before I even knew I was teaching, because I was volunteering. I was doing volunteer work a lot, and my first kind of a job too was that teaching fitness, then teaching art, and now teaching palmistry. Good for having many kids too. Jupiter, the Greek god, had so many kids that they can't even count how many. Wow! Very magnetic. I had 4 kids, so that makes sense. And then I ended up with 3 stepkids, so I actually had 7. But I gave birth to 4, but I had 7. So that makes a lot of sense. I love astrology. I really should study it more, but I do so many things, I don't have time. So Jupiter, in palmistry, Jupiter does relate to a lot about the leadership and self-esteem and your ego, and a lot about the self they talk about. So I don't know if that's at all similar. Yeah, that is a lot of kids. Jupiter is a very good planet. Oh, good. I like the sound of that. Oh, the best. Is that where the ego comes in? Jupiter said it's the best. It's the only truly benevolent planet of all the planets. Nice, nice. I know. I had some people mispronounce my name, and it's cute if they call me Siri instead of Sari. I love it, because my answer is ego's more to the sun. Yeah, okay, that's self-image. Yeah, okay. So I used to think it was funny if I say, no, you can call me Siri, because I'll give you an answer to anything. Ask me, I know everything. No, I don't know everything. I was just joking. I like having an answer to everything. It doesn't mean it's the correct one. Look at all the planets revolving around the sun. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. But, in palmistry, though, I've seen people with some people with a high sun mount, which is the Apollo mount. I've rarely saw that person has a strong ego. And more so, they are more social and more, I suppose, like it takes on that creative side. But people who have this more of such a high self-esteem that it's becomes egotistical, it is a huge amount of Jupiter. But like you said, Jupiter does have many good qualities, so that doesn't mean that they use that ego to in a bad way. But I've never thought in palmistry that a well-developed sun mount is representing a high ego. So maybe a show off in the sense where they might have, fancy cars, and they might show off what they have. But yeah, interesting. Anybody else want to say hi? We got some guys joining us. Thanks so much, Alicia Lee, for following me earlier, and Connie Harris, and Nina Saini, and Donna Clayton, Victoria Lowe. Thank you so much, all of you, for following my channel. I appreciate it a lot. Appreciate you guys joining my channel and becoming VIPs and subscribers. I appreciate all of you. You're helping me stay on this palm reading path. I couldn't believe I had to look this morning. I thought I had a couple of hundred videos, and now I found out I had over 400 videos. I thought, oh, it just adds up. The years keep coming quickly. I can't believe Christmas is already gone and moving on this year. It's all happening hard and fast. So anyway, I hope I get to 9,000. My Christmas was great. My whole family came over, except for my mum and dad, because they have health problems. But my three sisters, you know, their partners, their children, and my children, everybody came over. I had about 26 people at my house for Christmas, so it was nice. I enjoyed it. So this year, I don't know what's happening Christmas this year, but this year, by let's say November, I would like to have 9,000 subscribers on my channel. I've got more than 8,000 now, so I'm hoping to have a lot more subscribers this year. So I'll keep trying to post new videos and keep trying to keep everyone entertained and teach them more. And that's why I ask you guys to let me know what you want to learn about. I'm happy to have a major discussion about it. There's a lot of things to talk about, and sometimes they're a bit sort of what do you call it when you can't be sure about it. So sometimes some things in palmistry are debatable, because one palm reader says one thing, another palm reader says another thing. And so I had just the other day was talking about the children lines, and the children lines are definitely very debatable. Some people get them, some people don't get them. Some people, it shows exactly how many children they have, other people it doesn't. And when you read about it in the books, you get different views from the palm readers as well. So I did post something about the children lines, and another palm reader was shocked. She goes, "What is this? What is this? This is, you know, is this a joke?" She asked me, "Is this a joke?" And I chose to ignore her comment, but if she's any kind of a palm reader, she knows that we all have different views on these lines. And some of them come from traditional sort of views. Some of them come from, you know, the Asian views, some Western views, and some, you know, supernatural views. All of that jazz. But anyway, so that's all we've got time for today, because it looks like there's no more questions. And but I look forward to coming back again. I'll check my calendar here. Next Tuesday, the 27th. Yes, I'm not away yet. That's fine. 28th. No, 26th. That'll be 26th for you guys if you're in the US. Thank you, Erica. Yes, I try to keep my knowledge practical and accurate, and I try not to make jokes about it, although I have made jokes about it, but I make sure it's clear that they're jokes. I used to have this thing called funny time, and I used to make memes about palmistry, and it was silly things like I would draw a house on the hand and then make a joke about what the picture of the house means, you know, and what's that dot mean? The dot means you were picking up your children's crayons off the floor and things like that, and like joke about it. And the names for the lines, I used to make jokes because other palm readers used to argue about what the lines were called. They would argue, say, if I said blah blah line, they said, no, it's not, it's called the la 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 line. I said, well, I call it the blah blah line, and no, it's a la la line. And I thought, well, it's up to them what they want to call it. It's the meaning of the line that matters. So in one of my books, I think, or one of my videos, I talk about the line. It's called the pencil in your ear line. That's what I call it. Pencil in your ear line. It means it doesn't matter what the line is called. It's about what it means, where the energy comes from. Where's this energy coming from? Why is this line forming? It's because it's getting energy from somewhere. So, and that gives it the meaning. So Erica says, find that I communicate clearly and accurately. Thank you. I try. I try. Sometimes it's difficult because I forget words. Getting to, anyway, English is my second language. That's my excuse. That doesn't mean I'm good at my first language either. So anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for the chats, Erica, and I look forward to seeing that photo if you send that to me, and then I can study that, and we can do that next time. We'll do that on Tuesday or Monday for you. And yeah, that should be very interesting. Hopefully we'll have other people join as well for that cool lesson. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. And what else? That was it. Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. See ya. You're welcome. Bye.